Feed yourself in the room and then come back in when we start the meeting. Lauren, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Victor, would you lead us in prayer, please? Father God, we thank you for this wonderful day you've allowed us to be in. We thank you for the quorum you've allowed us to create here tonight. Holy Spirit, we ask for your guidance. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Victor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
Sarah, roll call.
Counselor Howard,
Here.
Counselor Lorenz,
Here.
Counselor Watson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sigala,
Here.
Mayor Becker,
Here.
a quorum is declared.
We have any modifications to the agenda?
No, not tonight, no modifications.
Okay. Approval of consent agenda from the minutes regular meeting for March 20th, 2025, and review and approval of accounts payable. So moved. Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda for the minutes of regular meeting from March 20th, 2025, and the review and approval of accounts payable. Is there any discussion? Sarah?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Sigala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker,
Aye.
motion carries to approve consent agenda.
Okay, we'll go to proclamations, communications, and appointments. We're gonna do a proclamation tonight for child abuse awareness for the month of April. Proclamation, Child Abuse Awareness Month of April. Whereas every child has a right to a safe, loving, and stable home, and child abuse and neglect are serious issues that affect children, families, and communities across our nation. And whereas preventing child abuse requires a collaborative effort involving families, educators, community members, law enforcement, and service organizations working together to ensure the safety and well-being of all children. And whereas San Luis Valley Behavioral Health Group, SLVBHG, is committed to addressing child abuse through prevention, intervention, and education, providing essential mental health services and support to children and families affected by abuse. And whereas by increasing public awareness and fostering a culture of prevention, we can create a community where all children can grow and thrive without fear of harm. And whereas April is nationally recognized as Child Abuse Prevention Month, serving as a time for communities to unite in raising awareness and taking action to protect our children. Now therefore, I, Dale Becker, Mayor of the City of Monte Vista, do hereby proclaim April is Child Abuse Awareness Month in the City of Monte Vista. And I urge all residents, organizations, and businesses to participate in the activities that raise awareness and promote the safety and well-being of our children. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the City of Monte Vista to be effective of this for third day of April 2025. Okay, we'll move to citizen comments and special presentation, and we'll go with citizen comments. City Council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, and council will not take action at this meeting. So we have any citizen comments?
Hey, Laura can tell us on Adams. Oh, yeah.
You can sign that
That's
paper.
right. Thank
Laura.
you. Hopefully I can read my own writing. I just wanted to speak in response to when I came home last week and read the article about that we weren't gonna have a nose spray option in Monte Vista for the mosquito spraying this year. I was a bit disappointed in that. So Gigi and Rob have heard it before, and I do want to say I appreciate everything that Rob and his crew does for the city because it's amazing. But yeah, I just feel that I know the option was a voluntary option by the city before to not have our property sprayed, but I feel as a property owner that I shouldn't have to have my property sprayed with chemicals if I don't want to. And at the very least, I think we need to know what the chemicals are that are being used, and that should be on the website. I'm assuming that probably should be the case anyway. And what the hazards are, because that's sort of the nature of chemicals around. So nervous right now. Anyway, and so I'd like to know what the chemical is, the ecological impact, and what that impact might be on our gardens and in our water, and also for pollinator species, beneficial insects. And I guess that's basically it. Yeah, I was disappointed that that option was taken away. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm going to try and I'll get through this in 3 minutes, so I'm going to read is mostly what I'm going to do. Just
Please
to make
state
sure.
your name.
Oh, yes, I will. Yeah. So good evening. My name is Matt Nearing, and I thank you for the opportunity to address the city council. And I appreciate the work that the city does, both as a council as well as the city employees and so forth. My remarks here are in protest to the unanimous decision by the city council to approve the new mosquito spraying plan as presented at your last meeting on March 20th. I have 3 primary points. In recent years, the city has provided an opportunity for residents to request that their property not be sprayed, that is the no spray list. According to the March 26th issue of the Monte Vista Journal, Mr. Vance indicated that, quote, "We have had something new happen now with 3 different streets, 3 different times, and 3 different residents. We have had people who live opposite where these no spray signs are that have complained that they are paying for a service but are not receiving the service. Mr. Vance indicated that the no spray list was a courtesy and that now there is no other choice in play for the city. They must do away with the no spray courtesy since, quote, everyone in town is paying for the service. I object to the assertion that there is no other choice for the city. Here's one possible solution. I will gladly pay the $122.40 these 3 residents will be paying for this year's pest control fees for the city. This solution is no more ridiculous than changing a policy due to the fact that a total of 3 residents complained. My second issue is in the manner in which this change to a controversial city program was enacted. For the past 2 years, a number of different residents have engaged in good faith efforts with Mr. Vance and other city employees in an attempt to reach some compromise that takes into account different perspectives across the city. Instead of notifying these residents as a matter of courtesy of changes coming, Mr. Vance simply brought forth the proposed changes for approval on March 20th. I'm dismayed and disappointed in the city council that you chose to unanimously approve rather than recommend for further discussions on a controversial issue. It seems as though the plan was simply to charge forward without data, without evidence, and without opportunity for community input. Having served 10 years on the Monte Vista School Board, I can attest to the fact that employing this tactic in controversial situations rarely ends well for anyone. This has been a careful and thoughtful deliberative body in the past. I hope the action taken regarding changes to the mosquito spraying program will serve as an outlier rather than a new operating procedure. The last point is that the city council has violated your own resolution on proper posting of meeting notice and content. As per your January 2nd meeting, all notices are to be posted on the south door of this building and on the webpage. The notices for the March 20 meeting and tonight's meeting were both not posted on the web. Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-4028 provides that, quote, no resolution, rule, regulation, ordinance, or formal action of any state agency, board, committee, commission, or other body shall be valid unless taken or made at a meeting which is open to the public and of which full and timely public notice has been given. As mentioned before, tonight's meeting failed to meet your requirements for public posting, so any action taken tonight will also be invalid. In conclusion, in the short term, I ask the city council to pursue the following actions. A, revisit the option of allowing residents to request their property not be sprayed and engage the community in this discussion. And B, direct the city to update and maintain their mosquito control information website with current information, including the chemical labels, not the MSDS data sheets, for all chemicals being broadly applied throughout the city, as this has not been updated in some time. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
so the meeting for this week was posted on Tuesday.
Not on the web.
Yeah, it was.
I
It's
have a
on-
screenshot. It is not posted on the web.
You went to the wrong website. We updated our website.
Well, you're supposed to have a link. I followed the city link. It is not posted where it says meeting agendas. So the last 2 meetings, the March 20th and this one, every other one has been updated, but it hasn't, and it's always posted there a day before. These 2 meetings are the only exception.
So this new city website is montevista.gov.
And the old city website is in the process of being taken down. And we have been working with the state of Colorado to take that website down. We were reassured today by SIPA that they are in the process of taking that down and redirecting the website. That is out of our control to redirect the website or to take it down. But that was announced 2 meetings ago that the new website was montevista.gov. And it has been posted, and it was posted on the website under agendas on both meetings. Last meeting was posted on Monday. This meeting was posted on Tuesday, and our official posting is actually the front door of City Hall.
And I think both of them are, so I appreciate the correction on the website, so I appreciate that. I do think it would be helpful for the city of Monte Vista if the city of Monte Vista website had a link to the new website, right? The old one, it seems like you should have control to put a link there.
We do not have control over that. That is through the state of Colorado. And our IT department is working on that, and I do have emails showing that if you'd like to see that through an open records request.
Appreciate that.
Any other citizen comments? Okay, we'll move on to scheduled appearances. In order to be included on this portion of the agenda, you have to fill out the appropriate form with the city clerk no later than noon on Monday prior to the meeting. San Luis Valley Federal discussed financial scams. Delcy Worley. Thank you guys for being here.
Well,
So I'm Delzia Worley. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at San Luis Valley Federal Bank, and Mindy Chavez, Branch Manager here in Monte Vista. So we really appreciate you allowing the time to let us come today.
The clicker is on.
Okay, you might have to give me little instructions, but we got this. So what we did is we just put together a brief agenda. We're not going to go in super in depth, but Anita does have the PowerPoint, so you're welcome to look at this at any time. Our goal as San Luis Valley Federal Bank is really committed to our community success. And so as we talked about this, we wanted to protect individuals from scammers and exploiters who could threaten success of our community. And I'll let me, and I jump in here.
So April is actually Financial Literacy Month as well as a child abuse. The OCC, Office of Comptroller of Currency, really encourages banks and savings and loans to really improve our members' financial health and really take these resources and get them to our members.
And I think, you know, in some of these bold, when you have a little bit more time to review this, when you look at this, they emphasize the importance of helping consumers in their knowledge and skills to make sound financial choices. And I think that really is the goal of you all and us as a community, that we can make sound financial choices.
So we've actually been doing quite a few presentations to our older adult population because we see a lot of harm coming to those individuals, a lot of financial losses, a lot of not only financial, but also physical losses by caregivers, people that supposedly they can trust, family members. And as banks, we are mandatory reporters for this type of abuse in our community. So again, the crimes obviously include physical, psychological, stealing of assets or income, their personal information. It can involve all of that. So again, if we do see something concerning, we do report that not only to local law enforcement, but also to the Social Security Office, Social Services.
And as part of this PowerPoint, and when we've been able to go out and meet with some of our senior centers and different individuals in the community, we try to give them some tips and some ways that they can combat these scams and fraud. And so those are included in here too, as just some additional resources. But in 2024, there were 12 items that came out as the top 12 scams that targeted specifically our older adult population. And so these are those scams that we're seeing here in our community, very prevalent. And you don't have to be an older individual to be scammed. I like to think of myself as a non-older individual, but I'm sure that's up for discussion. But these are the top ones that we're seeing.
We were talking earlier about the E470 text message. I'm sure a lot of you got that. Tell you what, it took everything I had not to click on that link because it just panics you. So, you know, if we know all of this, and it's still hard for us not to respond to those. So for people who don't know about them, how important it is to educate.
So the tech support or home repair scams, we've probably all heard of those, especially when there's, you know, events in the community, or disaster repairs, targeting people going door to door, calling, saying, you know, so-and-so sent me, we're gonna repair your roof. Relative phone scams, this is becoming more and more common, and we have two of our staff here today, and I just can't even say enough about our staff. They are on the front lines, and people think we're being nosy. We're not. We're really just trying to protect individuals. But this relative phone scam, we actually had an older member come in. They know Miss Jeanette, who has been at the bank for a long time. You all probably know Jeanette. They came in and they were literally panicked because somebody was on the phone with them, saying they were threatening a grandchild. Jeanette took the phone from them, actually said, hey, leave my grandma alone. Ended the call, helped them block what was going on their phone. And so what they'll do is they'll call, and especially in AI technology, they may call and say, Lauren, we have your nephew, and you know, if you don't send this money, we're going to kidnap them. And so some of the ways to combat that are having passwords or phrases where you know you can hang up the phone and pick up the phone and call your nephew and make sure that he is okay. And so that's one that we are seeing more of.
The other one that we saw recently was the home repair scam. A member came in and withdrew several thousands of dollars. Before we caught on to what was going on, she had Bitcoined thousands of dollars out to these scabbers. And they have them on the phone, telling them not to talk to us, they're recording the call. This person actually was recording our members' every move on the phone. We did call law enforcement. One of your wonderful officers came over, handled it, and talked to the scammer as well. But again, thousands of dollars were lost before we were able to help her.
And one other one that we're seeing a lot more frequently is the overpayment scam. So they will get on a computer, maybe a Microsoft link pops up and says, hey, you're out of date. And so you click on that, or you think, am I really out of date? From there, they eventually, condensing this, will take over the computer. And so they'll say, okay, Mayor, you owe $800 to get this set up. I'll get on your computer and I'll take care of you. And so you pay the $800. They're on there taking care of your computer. They say, oh, you know what? I entered an extra zero and I actually transferred $8,000. I need you to send that difference back to me. And so what they do behind the scenes, sometimes they gain access to online passwords. They've transferred money from your own personal accounts. So we see all of these things, you know, they're just getting so sophisticated anymore. So really just as a community, just really thinking before we click and just staying vigilant in some of these occurrences.
One thing that we found super interesting is that younger people report losing money to fraud more often than older people do. But when someone who's 78 and plus reports, their average loss is much higher than a younger person. And I think, you know, a lot of it is, you know, who do you contact? How do you handle it? Maybe they're not sure what happened, but I thought that was very interesting how the younger people lost less financially where older people lost more.
This one just outlines the type of frauds that are available, and the most recent data that they put in this format was actually as of 2023. But you can see here the highest area where there's scams occurring nationally are in credit cards. But with credit cards, that's where the lowest amount of loss is as a percentage. So that loss is on the right-hand side, the type is on the left-hand side. You can see the bank transfers or payment. That one, there's a lower number, but a significant higher dollar amount. We're seeing a lot of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, person-to-person transfers that occur within that realm.
And then again, the method of contact, you can see the higher methods of contact is social media. With the fraud being reported 12% and the losses at 68%. So social media is definitely one of the hot topics. Again, the Facebook, you're lonely, you're on Facebook and you start clicking on links that maybe should not be clicked on. And these fraudsters are convincing people to send lots of money to them.
You can take a look at this later. This just recaps some scams that really occur a lot of times during holidays or school times. An interesting one that occurred within our universities and schools here was during school time, you might get a text that say, Victor, for your child, I don't know if you do, but thanks for letting me pick on you. If your child owes tuition, so just click on this link and let's get it paid really quickly. You're busy, you've got other things going on, and so all of a sudden you've clicked on that link and you've shared information. So definitely they target us when we're a little bit busier, preoccupied. So just again, remaining vigilant during those times. So we thought it might be kind of interesting to just share some of the things that we've seen. We've shared a few of those stories, but we did include a few items here. But first, we wanted to talk to you about check fraud.
So everyone, I know years ago, my old boss told me checks are a thing in the past, they're disappearing, we're not going to use them anymore. And while they are decreasing, we still see a very high percentage of checks and a lot of fraud. This particular graph is just pertaining to commercial checks and what's processed in 2024. And again, while it is decreasing, there's still an average of $32.6 billion in checks processed. Pretty high.
So it has declined by 5.4% over the past year, which is about 50%. But even that being said, on commercial checks, there's still 11.9 million checks a day, 32 billion per day that run through the system, which is, I thought was really interesting. As Mindy said, you think that declines?
And then again, in 2024, 12.5 billion to fraud is what the FTC has released as consumers losing, which is actually a 25% increase over 2023.
So this is a little bit tough to see, but at the very top left where the zoom bar is, the heading up there says Dr. Pepper. So this came in to a client, and it's from Dr. Pepper and it comes with a check. And the check, if you look on the left-hand side, it's from Greater Cincinnati Behavioral Health. It's out of a bank out of Ohio. Just a lot of red flags, but this check was sent with the Dr. Pepper letterhead saying, thank you, if you take on this job, here's your upfront money, you just cash the check, you send us a little bit back, and then you're good. So what happens is you bring in the check, you deposit it, you request a wire, you send funds out, and all of a sudden the check comes back and you're out the money. And so this is a common one that we are seeing.
And this one is very similar. They've won the Publishers Clearinghouse that they've never played. And then the check is from, a corporation that's not the Publishers Clearinghouse.
But they won 2.5 million, right?
Exactly. And again, by the time we have been notified the check is no good, the money's gone. And unfortunately, the member then owes the bank those funds.
So this we included, this was a training that we sat through. It was a national town hall, what's going on in the financial sector. A big scam that's going on today is related to gift cards. And so they will have people purchase gift cards. If you in Walgreens or the dollar store, a lot of those locations they'll only sell so many in gift cards. And so again, they have you purchase gift cards so that you can transmit funds, and they have you either send the receipt or read the back of the card. They say they're gonna sell you an item or whatever that looks like, and then they've used those gift cards and you don't have the item and you're out the money for the gift cards. So that's a new one. In this particular scam, they purchased, I think it was 36,000 in Best Buy gift cards and another 22,000 in Target gift cards. This financial institution, as a mandatory reporter, saw some signs. They actually reported it to get a welfare check, but there was just a lot of things that slipped through. At the end of the day, these individuals were out a significant amount of money. And so that's kind of our thing, is to just stay vigilant. There's just so much of this going on.
And then again, just some more tips to how to protect ourselves and also any family members that might be in a vulnerable situation. And again, just not feeling the fear and shame of reporting it and getting some help.
The one thing that we've really seen and that we really feel lucky about is a small community like ours. We know each other. We tend to know when things are going wrong. We usually know when something goes wrong with our accounts. We have a lot of good local banks, and we know that we can contact them and they're going to take care of us. And so I think that that's a key thing in the financial world, is for all of us in our community. It's really important that we know our bankers and that, we know we have people that we can trust.
And again, unfortunately, we've had to work with the local law enforcement a lot. They've been fantastic and we really do appreciate their support when we have these. These are cases that a lot of police officers don't like because they know it's probably not going to be solved. They're not going to end up in arrest because a lot of times they're out of the country, but they still take it seriously and they still are there to support us.
And your law enforcement probably knows Miss Jessica because she handles a lot of our fraud too. So she does a great job handling that. And then we just included some items from AARP as contacts. And there's a couple really interesting videos in the back if you decide you want to watch them. One was about a scammer who took some individuals for almost $800,000. But it really, our message isn't to be scared, it's to be informed. And knowledge is power. And so we really appreciate you letting us come today and take time. And if you have any questions, we're happy to help. Any questions for us? Nothing.
That Nigerian prince isn't.
I mean, hey,
He's okay, right?
that's true, and I think these love scams, especially during COVID, you definitely saw it uptick, and they're good at gaining trust. So yeah, but we might have to put that on hold.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we will go to resolutions. Resolution 2025-07, a resolution of the Monte Vista City Council to support an agreement between the city of Monte Vista and the Great Outdoors.
So we have to have a resolution in order to officially accept the $125,000 grant that we received with our co-grantee SLV Go. So the resolution says, whereas the city of Monte Vista supports the completion of advancing recreational infrastructure, in the San Luis Valley grant. Whereas the city of Monte Vista and co-grantee SLV Go has received a $125,000 planning grant from Great Outdoors Colorado to fund the advancing recreational infrastructure in the San Luis Valley, subject to the execution of this grant agreement. Whereas SLV Go will use the funds to support 5 infrastructure projects in the San Luis Valley. Whereas the fund will help support SLV Go staff member to oversee and coordinate trail programs. Whereas the planned project include Heart of the Valley Trail, the Lariat Ditch Trail, the Recreation Economy for Rural Communities, Closed Basin Canal Trail, and the Vista Grande Recreation Area. Now therefore, it be resolved by the city of Monte Vista of the I'm sorry, I screwed up, missed a part here. with SLV Go that section 1, the city of Monte Vista hereby authorizes the city manager, Gigi Dennis, to sign the grant agreement with Great Outdoors Colorado. Section 2, the city of Monte Vista hereby authorizes the expenditure of funds as necessary to meet the terms and obligations of the grant agreement and the application to SLV Go. In section 3, the resolution is in full force and in effect from and after its passage and approval. And so SLV Go, because they're not a government entity, cannot apply directly for GoCo funding. So they have to use a governmental entity to serve as their fiscal agent. And so we agreed to do that. And so with that, SLV Go will use the majority of the money, not the majority, a part of the money to hire a person that will help continue the work on these 5 projects, to look for grant funding so that we can hopefully get them all built out. And it's been a very positive partnership in working with them.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-7, a resolution of the City of Monte Vista Council to support the agreement between the City of Monte Vista and Great Outdoors.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept resolution 2025-07, resolution of the Monte Vista City Council to support an agreement between the City of Monte Vista and Great Outdoors. Is there any discussion? Sarah?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Renz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Sigla,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve resolution 2025-07, the resolution of the Monte Vista City Council to support an agreement between the city of Monte Vista and the Great Outdoors.
Okay, contracts, agreements, and leases. Board of the Sky High EOC backup generator. Mr. Vance.
Good evening, council. Before you tonight is a request to award the bid for the 2025 Sky High EOC backup generator project to Faith Enterprises. The bid was legally advertised and bids were opened on March 20th, 2025 and read into record. There were 2 legal bidders. The bidders were Faith Enterprises Incorporated and Power Zone Equipment Incorporated. Faith Enterprises, their bid, they were teaming with Colorado Standby and came in with a bid total of $296,104. And their bid met all of the bid criteria. Power Zone Equipment also teamed up. They teamed up with the DVL Group for the generator, Vimco Electric for electrical services, and Elevation Concepts for the concrete. And their bid came in at $330,717.41. Their bid also met all of the bid criteria. From there, the bids were sent to the review committee. There was a few questions on the Faith Enterprises bid that we sent questions back to them, and they responded in favorable that met all of the questions that the review committee had. We checked references. All of those are in your packet for your review. At this time, staff would recommend to City Council that to award the bid to the lowest responsible bidder, which is Faith Enterprises, for a total of $296,104. And I would open it up for any questions you might have.
I'll look to this end of the table because of the electrical experience. For questions.
I have looked over the bids and answered all my questions to my satisfaction anyway. But really, technically, what are you being proposed?
As long as it's been engineered, now that I know it's a full system like it, that's really, then we know we just gotta have that size period. So I'm good with it.
I'm sorry, when you guys finish.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Gigi.
And so the funding for this project is coming from congressional earmark funding as well as the Department of Local Affairs. And the Department of Local Affairs, since it's a broader project that will include the RV spaces and the shower building in order to have an emergency evacuation center out at Sky High. DOLA wanted to make sure that their funding primarily went to the generator. So, and that grant was for 200,000. And so that's how it'll be paid. And then the other 96,000 will come out of the congressional earmark funding we received. And that is through Colorado Homeland Security is the fiscal partner on it. And those are FEMA funding funds.
Who was it that came in and put a meter on, coordinator?
Colorado Standby was the original bidder and they put the meter on and they did all the engineering for the system to make sure that the size of the generator would operate that building as it operates.
Yeah.
So they had the meter on for over in the June, July timeframe. So they did miss Stampede, but they did carry through June and into the very beginning of July.
I make a motion to award the contract for the Sky High EOC backup generator to Faith Enterprises in the sum of $296,104.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to award the Sky High EOC backup generator to Faith Enterprises for the sum of $296,104. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the award for the Sky High backup generator to Fate Enterprises for the sum of $296,104.
Okay. Contract with KRW Associates and Firm for Police Recruitment.
You have the accelerator.
I think we have the Excel extension line for the airport. Is next.
Actually, it's not on the agenda.
Yes.
Where?
It should be right
I
under.
was gonna say it's not
Number
on
two.
mine.
That's not on mine, not on the paper one.
Yeah, mine's not on paper.
Mine either. Let me look.
You like the bottom?
Did I know it?
We're gonna see what's posted on the front door. Not kidding.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ordered this one now. It's like this shop.
XLMG Electrical Extension Airport Agreement.
Find out what Rebecca.
Come on up, Rob.
We can talk about it anyway.
We can talk about it. So in your packet is an agreement extension for electrical services to the airport. Back when we extended the airport land plan, the ALP, back in 2024, City Council approved a development for additional hangar space. This is to the south of where the hangars end now. On the ALP, it shows a total of 8 new hangars. We had application at the very end of 2024 that showed that there was 2 hangars that people were interested in. We did receive a CDOT Aeronautics grant to extend the taxiway about 300 feet to include those 2 and 1 additional hangar space. That project was completed last year minus some painting that is supposed to happen this year. It'll happen as soon as the weather warms up. We have 2 people that have already bought hangars. They have already constructed hangars. And this agreement with Excel extends electrical services down to service those 3 hangar spots. Map is included in the back of the agreement. It is for a total of $14,773.06. And that bill would come after the construction is complete. So at this time, we would need just a signature, Gigi's signature, to move the project forward. So with that, I would need council to approve the extension. There will be another one coming once they get the gas moving forward. We did want each of the hangars to have the ability to have natural gas out there. That would just kind of limit how many external things such as propane tanks that we would have to deal with in future. So by having every hangar have natural gas, it just limits what's hanging out behind or beside the hangars. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I make a motion to approve the Excel extension and. Wow, Gigi did this time. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve XL Energy electrical extension at the airport agreement. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the Excel Energy electric line and allow for GD Dennis to sign the contract.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
And I do apologize, council, the wrong agenda was printed for you. But the correct one was posted on the front door and on the website.
Jason, thank you for bringing the front door to the attention of the public. Contract with KRW Associates and firm for police recruitment.
So, council, we had a work session with you last week regarding our need to hire a police chief. And we have been in contact with a company called KRW Associates out of the metro area. And they have quite the low process that they would have in order to help us find the next police chief. You've all heard the presentation before. I just want to add that I met with the police officers yesterday. They're all very supportive of interim chief Hartford right now. This is no reflection against him and no reflection on the quality of the service that he is providing right now. So I want to thank Tyler for his service and what he's doing to help keep our community safe and in working with the rest of the team. And he is eligible to apply as well. But then he'll go through the same process as any other candidates that there may be out there. So do you want more, if you want more
Make a motion to approve the contract with KRW Associates to recruit a police chief.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the contract for KRW Associates, firm for police recruitment for the police chief. Any more discussion?
No, and I do hope that you do apply and try to get the position.
Thank you.
I just think we should do it through these channels just to make sure.
And for the
Unita?
record, we should probably announce the amount of the contract.
Sure, absolutely. The cost of this will be $24,250. And then if we have anybody that has to travel or come into the community for the interview, the city will pay for those travel expenses.
Okay, Unita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the contract with KRW Associates, a firm to recruit for a new police chief.
So as we've kind of prepared a schedule, right now they're scheduled to come in April the 30th, May 1st, and then any follow-up or finish on May 2nd. And so they would like to do a meeting with council after our council meeting on May 1st. And so that will be an interaction, the characters, the traits, the what you'd like to see in a chief of police. There will also be a community gathering opportunity, and so I've encouraged the officers to give me names of folks that maybe they regularly interact with, good and bad, to come in, and then they will also meet with the police officers, and they'll also meet with the department heads. So it's quite a process in order to find out what it is that we're really looking for and how the candidates can best address that. So I hope you'll all be able to attend my first meeting. And so that's it. But instead of me sitting down and then coming back up, can we just go out of order? And we'll talk about the next.
You're out of order?
So the next thing I want to talk real quickly about is, I put a couple of maps on your desk. And so we got word this week, this was positive. So well number 6 is over by the football field, and it had ended up on the abandonment list through the state of Colorado because the water at the time was used for the football field that then got moved. And so there is, so back in 2012, the power was taken off of this. So now the state has granted us the access to go ahead and put the power back in and activate it, and then we can use this well as untreated water for the golf course. Now, well number 7 was not accurately reflected on the state map. And so we had to put in the documentation to change the location of it, and so that it was actually moved. It does not have a meter, but that well does have power. So the state has to go through and contact the individuals that are within 600 feet that also have wells. And as long as they don't have any objection, we'll be able to utilize these wells again. So the city has another well, number 5. I didn't make a map of it, but wells number 5, 6, and 7 are considered, or they are in the unconfined aquifer. And I don't understand my other message I wrote myself. Rob, do you remember having anything else to add?
I think they're both in the.
Are they both just a casing?
What's that?
Did they both have their pumps pulled and they're just a casing, or are the pumps still there?
Pumps are still there. On well 6 over here.
Rob, can I get you to come?
Sorry,
Sorry, Rob,
Thank you.
that's okay.
I started that.
On well 6, the one over here by the high school, that one, what happened is when they redid everything over there, they just cut the power. So there's a meter on there, and we used to read it every year for the state. And then when they cut the power, it's a digital readout, so we don't have the ability to read it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of went off, and then it just wound up being on the abandonment list. So that's there. Well 7 has always been historically just in the wrong place. So we still read that one. It just historically have been located in the wrong
You
space.
just have to
So,
get documents right for it.
yeah, so just getting all the paperwork in the right area.
As long as most of the stuff's there, that way the upfront cost. is
Yeah,
done.
no, the only thing well 7 needs is a meter.
Okay, good.
It does not have a meter, so
Gonna say,
we'll
you
have to
hit
spend a few.
Several $1,000s pretty
No,
quick.
it'll be
There's no pump in the hole.
It'll be a couple thousand. to get
Okay,
it.
good, thank you.
So I don't need you all to do anything, just an update on what's taking place and that we're getting these 2 wells back where we can use them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gigi.
Tyler's up.
Tyler's up next. Interim chief.
Oh, man.
So this is for the work session last week as well for the automated speed enforcement camera system. You guys heard about it. I guess I'll kind of give you a brief overview. Initially, we would start with a handheld camera that is operated by an officer. Eventually, we'd want to transition into a pole mounted cameras or a couple full mounted cameras that are stationary, that would be enforcing, traffic 24/7. Again, the ticket would be issued to the registered owner of the vehicle. The total would be $40 unless it was a school zone or a construction zone. Then it would be an $80 ticket they'd receive in the mail. It doesn't go against points on your license. It also doesn't go against insurance or anything like that. It's a civil infraction, not a penalty assessment. I would ask to move forward with adopting an ordinance, working with the city attorney and a contract for the system.
Let's move forward.
Any questions about it?
Motion for this?
We don't need a motion, we just need to direct staff, we don't have anything to vote on at this point, we need to have the ordinance right now, but.
I do have a
Yeah.
copy from another city that we're working with.
I do have a question. Maybe you can talk with the gentleman that gave us the presentation that day, because we were all talking about, it gives you a ticket, an infraction for 10 over, and that's all we were kind of talking about. But when I got home, I was wondering, like, well, what about those vehicles that are going too slow? You know, because you also have those people on the road that,
So you mean
Just-
like impeding traffic or something
yes,
like that?
like, because is there
It
something
would
that-
just be for speed 10 over.
okay. So nothing to the people that hold up the traffic.
No.
There's no minimum speed out there.
Yeah, it's just those people tend to cause people to,
Now they impede.
yeah, like it's bad too. It's sometimes worse than the speeders.
Plus they're in your way when you're trying to get your 9 mile an hour over. That's like.
So anyways, I was just curious if they had any.
Yeah, no. That. Any other questions on this? Thank you.
Forward, thank you. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to staff report, city clerk first.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I have a few things to go over with you. First of all, we've been super busy with vendor permits and business license renewals. We sent out on March 24th, we sent out 22 final letters for business license renewals. We've given them until April 15th. If those businesses do not renew by April 15th, then we will be sending them a letter to appear in front of council as a show cause, and this is per our code to show and state why they should stay in business. If a business doesn't have a business license, then they should not be in business. These are businesses that have had businesses in the past. Some of these businesses have had businesses for 10 years is one of the ones that was the oldest. So they should know that they have to renew on a yearly basis. Again, this is the third and final letter that we've sent out. So if they don't renew by April 15th, then they'll get a letter saying that they need to appear in front of council to state a show cause here for a show cause hearing. And that is per our code. We seem to have an issue with our vendor permits. Vendors are going to events within the valley or within Monte Vista, and they're not getting a vendor permit. They're $5. So I've been working with the chamber and other events and making sure that if they don't have a vendor permit, then they can't register for that event. All they need to do is come by, we process it the same day. It usually takes 5 minutes to process the vendor's license, and we give it to them right then and there, so they don't have to wait. So I've been working again with the chamber to try to get that process a lot smoother. With that being said, with our new website, it wasn't official until this morning, but I got final word that all of our documents that are on the website, by the end of April, they will be fillable documents. So people can go online, they can pull up the document, they can fill it out. It'll have the email of the person that it'll go back to, so like the vendor permits will come to me. Any of like the sidewalk permits, concrete permits, they'll go to Rob. Utility permits will go to the utility department. They'll go to whoever takes care of those permits, and then we can act on them right away. And they will also connect with Express Bill Pay, so people can go online and pay for them. So there's no longer any stopping in the process where they have to come in, get the form, fill it out, pay it through us. They can do it all online. So that will be done by the end of April. Dog tags, it is April. We have 32 dogs that are registered. I know there's more dogs in Monte than 32 dogs. It's $7 and we need a copy of the rabies vaccination. So please come and get your dog registered. If you have a dog within the city limits of Monte Vista, we do have where if you go and adopt a dog at Connor Animal Shelter, you can get a discount for the tag. So as long as you're within the city limits of Monte Vista. But we've also reposted that. That'll be in the paper again this next week. So we need to get dogs registered within Monte Vista. And that's not only for the safety of the animal, but it's for the purpose of the owner too. If your dog is lost, it can give the purpose of our code enforcement officer to contact our office and say, hey, we have this animal with this tag number, and we can contact the owner and get that dog back to the owner. So it's a good reason to get your dog registered. We're seeing a lot more open records requests than we've had in the past. We've had 5 this last week. And that's more than I've had in the 8 years I've been here. So we're seeing quite a few number of that. Against Gigi's want, she allowed me, thank you. I am doing a second round of brick ordering for the Faith Hinkley Park. So that will open back up on May 1st. It will run until August 15th. We will close it on August 15th and we will place the order. North River Greenhouse has offered to help us relay those bricks. So we're gonna do the second round of brick orders perfectly. I went over the website. With the municipal courts, one of the new rules that have come down, our court system has to go live. So with that being said, I've been working with the IT department. We will be putting up a TV just similar to what's in here, and it will go live on Zoom. So anybody can Zoom in for court from the next court date on. And that's a mandate that has come down in a new law for municipal courts. So that will go into place. We currently have 76 cases for 2025. And the new thing that we're working on right now, or not that I'm working on, but the city attorney is working on, is he's working on the model traffic code for the 2025 year. So that'll be for you soon too, because the fees and rules have changed there as well. The Spring District CML meeting is in San Luis this year on the 20th of May. So if any of you want to attend, please let me know.
When is that again?
May 20th. And then elections are coming up. So we do have 3 positions that will be open. So if you're interested in running, the election calendar will come out in July. And then we will start handing out packets, and I will make sure that the three of you know. If you are gonna run again, please let me know, and I will make sure that you have the calendar and the dates. Any questions?
Thank you, Unita. Public Works. Mr. Vance.
Good evening again. So you have my written report in your council packet. I won't go through it all. I'll just touch on some of the highlights. In our streets, one of the things that we've been doing this year, kind of, I hate to say it, but kind of on the secret. We've been going through the alleys this year during the course of the winter and cleaning up the debris and the junk that's been in the alleys. So far, we've collected a little, believe it or not, sad to say, we've collected almost 4 tons worth of garbage out of the alleys. And our total right now for tires is right at 700 tires.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
So we are 3 months into the year and we have met just as of today. Your report is a little different because I had up to the 27th, but as of today, we have hit just under, we're $200 under halfway of our landfill fee budget. So it's been a good thing. It's also a really sad as to what people have been throwing out in the alleys. And we're literally only dealing with the 20-foot right of way of our alleys. We haven't advertised it because as we were going through and people started realizing what we do, the folks that live on the next alley or up a block, the amount of trash we started seeing started to increase. So we started skipping alleys, so we weren't doing row after row because it was starting to really affect us, and we were getting people that had mattresses up against their garages. All of a sudden they wound up mysteriously in the morning in the alley. So we kind of had to stop it, but we did get through that. Today was the last day we're doing it. We're going to moving into summer. But we do, like I said, we've spent just $200 under halfway of our budget for landfill fees. So if you look at your budgets, you'll see how much we've spent. Just under 4 tons of debris and 700 tires. So kind of a sad thing. Good news on our utility side. Our reeds are going a little bit better. We did get, with the warmer weather, we did get all of the taps in Terra del Sol done. So the frost is for the most part out of the ground. We did have a little bit, but for the most part, it wasn't too bad. Projects are starting to move. We're heading into construction's going to start here pretty quick. So we've issued 2 contracts. So we're waiting on bonds and things to come back. So we'll be starting that here pretty quick. Couple of other projects before I do my shameless plug. But Christmas, we've got 2 orders that came in this week. So one of Gigi's secrets, but it'll be there. So it's in, it's undercover. It won't resurface until November. And then we did something with the little savings on our savings that we had on our cleaning from sewer this year. I've been wanting to get a program that's kind of a cost accounting program for city council and for myself that kind of pertains, and so I can start doing some adequate and accurate job counting, so I can tell you what jobs cost us. So I've been working, and actually a huge shout out to IT because they threw this out there, threw this name out there for a different thing. Because Bob runs a program that takes care of our backflow, or it's called Cross Connection, and his program with the new computer died. So we didn't have the ability to do it, and he had a 30-day trial, and it was running really close to being the end. So they threw out this name iWorks. And Alamosa uses it for their cross canal. And so we looked at it, liked it. I then asked them for a demo for some of their other stuff. And believe it or not, we were able to get cross control and their entire public works suite, which includes work orders, streets, signs, water, sewer, and a complete setup. And we were able to get it for just a little over $8,200. And I was sitting there looking at the contract today. Our savings on that over everything that they discounted, we saved a little over $12,000. Yeah, so I've never actually seen that, so I'm kind of happy right now. that we less than half of what normally would cost, so I'm really happy with that. So in the future, as we go, cross connection, we already had our kickoff meeting. And so we're right in the middle of getting that thing going and keeping Bobby going so he can do that. And that's all of our commercial properties have to have a backflow preventer. So that keeps that going. And then over the next 60 days, we'll be getting the rest of Public Works in it. And so as we get into budget and things like that, I will actually be able to bring forth to council, to Gigi, and start showing you what we spend at the airport or what we spend at the golf course or some of these other little jobs that we do that I haven't been able to show you what it actually costs the city to do. So we'll start having that ability. So I'm really excited for that. And with that, I'll just kind of open it up for any questions. Like I said, things are moving and shaking right now. Public Works, we are just running. So my shameless plug, if you'll let me. It is summer. We are getting ready. So we are hiring for our seasonal parks positions. And we are also hiring for a new position, which is a weed sprayer for not only weeds throughout the city, but for noxious weeds. So we are looking for employees. So if you have young people that are looking for things to do during the summer or somebody that's looking for a job, especially with the weed spray, if they have some experience with chemicals or looking for kind of a challenge, come apply. We really need some folks. So please come apply for us. Let's put that. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
In regards to cleaning the alleys, when they start piling that up, is there any way of going back on the?
I'm hoping so, and that's why I did this. So I was hoping that we would have code enforcement kind of set up. And that as we went through as things, couches and stuff, because you would be really surprised at some of the things we found. As they start showing up, we would have the means to go to that property and say, look, we're gonna give you an option. Clean it up or get a ticket. So, I mean, we've invested quite a little bit of money and time through the course of this winter. I mean, if there was any good of not having a lot of snow, that was the good thing. We had some downtime, so we capitalized on it and did something that probably hasn't been done in a decade. So. But my hope is yes. Now that we have Cody on board, hopefully we can do that. And I'm hoping we do some education at first. But yes, I would really not like to see the alleys wound up in the shape that they are. And we'll still need to go back in and cut weeds and do stuff of that nature. So, okay. Anybody else?
Thank you, Rob.
All right, Council, thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Police Department.
Just to kind of piggyback off Rob, I am excited to say we did hire code enforcement. I think he'll be a good fit and he's excited to get out there and get on all the trash and weeds and everything else. So today we posted this on Facebook as kind of a monthly activity summary. Just kind of goes through how many calls we had, the different types of stuff, and we're going to continue to do that monthly. But we had 631 calls for service. That includes ambulance calls, fire calls, telephone calls, you know, everything in between. 6 of those were traffic accidents. We took 94 reports. We had 10 arrests, 29 citations, 76 traffic stops, and 74 agency assists. And those are helping Rio Grande County fire, ambulance, stuff like that. We also had the Center for Restorative Justice come and do a training about their LEAD program. It's the Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Program. We've done it in the past and it kind of dwindled down and went away. They were still there and we're just kind of trying to re-implement that, get reconnected with them. But it assists with low-level offenders to complete their program instead of being charged with, a misdemeanor offense or something like that. They can go through their program.
Traffic ticket.
Not traffic ticket, it's more like drug addiction, alcohol addiction. They also provide rides to court, doctor's appointments, housing. And they have just a ton of resources to get people help. But it's kind of one of those things, the more the person puts into it, the more they'll get out of it. And they have to meet certain criteria to go through the program. So we're kind of.
Is that the same program where they have like somebody follow up with them? And
yeah, they follow up with them, make sure they're on track, get them to their appointments, court dates, all that kind of stuff. So they have a ton of resources to help people, just if the person is willing to keep up with it. So we're trying to re-implement that. On April 19th, we were partnering with the Elks to host an Easter egg hunt at Chapman Park. We have tons of prizes, bicycles, I think over 4,000 eggs, baskets, all kinds of stuff. So.
You involved in Easter tea?
4,000 eggs, that's a mint these days, right there.
Well, not really. Real
That's so cheaper.
We have started a I guess slideshow for recruitment, a PowerPoint. Officer Mormons reach out to I think every academy in the state, asking to present a recruitment slideshow so we can get people to apply with Monte Vista Police Department. She has her first presentation on April 23rd, and that's going to be at Pikes Peak State College. So we're excited to try and do that many other places in the state. Next is Officer Anthony Chacon and Corporal Robert Pino. Were both promoted to sergeant. And I'm planning on April 17th, the next council meeting, to have a ceremony for them. And then the last thing is we want to welcome all of you to come over to the PD, talk to us, come on a ride along, and just kind of get to know us. But any questions?
What are you doing this afternoon? Let's skip this stuff.
Going home.
There's paperwork that we have to fill out prior to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, pretty soon. If anyone want to go anytime, just let us know.
Okay.
Oh, and also Leo, who has been on military deployment, he will be returning on May 19th. I think that's all I got. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
The ride-along form is on the new website.
Is it? Okay. And then we have copies as well.
IT, Dawes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. A little bit of a busy month with working with Rob, getting work and all that set up, just piggybacking off what he was saying earlier. We throughout the name I work as over in Alamosa, we do work with them as well in our public works sector. And overall, it seems to be going great so far from what we've seen. I was in the onboarding meeting as well, along with Ren Gallegos, and everything seemed to have gone off without a hitch there. Seems to be working well for Bobby so far. We got everything set up with them from cross connections, so that way everything transferred over, hopefully without any problems. And then code enforcement, Cody came on kind of just out of the blue a day early, so when he came on, it was kind of a bit of a scramble getting him all set up. But he is all good to go. He's same number as previous code enforcement, so if you guys need to get a hold of him, relatively easy to find where he's at or what if you need him. Our phone system, as we were doing the promotions in the PD, we noticed some issues as first we dealt with the phone system crash in general, so we've been troubleshooting that. That seems to be fixed. As to what caused that, we're not sure, besides just too much bandwidth over the phone system. So we've been working on just rectifying that and trying to figure out where the data is just being overloading on the system. Then we were having issues with services not starting. This affected the voicemail services. We were working with the company that we are contracted with for the phone system, High Country. This is just an update that happened. This patch they had to put through. That's all been fixed as well. And then we have finished our system replacements for the year, besides the MDTs, which are the computers in the police vehicles. Those are on hold till we figure out what's going on with all the police vehicles, and then from there, just work with Tyler to get them all deployed and installed properly. And the PD gate was having issues for a long time there. It's finally up and running again. They can use their button on the side to get out. So hopefully they can be a little bit more responsive if they get a call. Other than that, is there any questions?
Will you leave this evening? I'll screw my computer up, so you gotta fix it. Ouch. For him, it'll be an easy fix. For me, forget it. Thank you, guys. City Attorney. Gene, it's really good to have you come give your report this time. You're not getting out of it tonight.
Well, I was planning to give this report last time, and I had a slight interruption in my presentation.
Well, we're glad to hear it tonight.
The good thing about all that was I got to experience it firsthand what the helicopter service was, and then earlier this week what the fixed wing service was, and so Seth's brother Ely sent me up there on the fixed wing. So I'd recommend that all of you take that insurance. What's worth, it only costs you about $60, and they save you about $100,000. Okay, been a lot of activity in between here, and well, first of all, I want to say too that Seth is in here. Seth and I are moving into a more formal partnership at this point in time, and I think we will together be able to better serve the city and have more depth to that service. So we're working toward that right now and trying to get things filed with the Secretary of State's office and that kind of thing. So feel free to pick on Seth for stuff. He's looking at me funny about saying that.
He just gave a green light.
We both of us have a lot in common. We're both University of Wyoming Law School graduates, and we both have raised two sons, and so we think we got a lot in common, a lot going in our office, and so that's really been great to have over there for the last 3 years. I think we'll both be of better service to the city. So, Muni Court, last session was 41 cases. It was pretty much the usual type of thing: trespasses, shopliftings, thefts, assault, traffic, and review of existing cases. So there wasn't anything real remarkable about any of that. And that we're talking about municipal court too, kind of leads me into talking about what we did Monday. We hosted a meeting in the office, a luncheon meeting there for about 3 hours with the heads of the departments, 6 police chiefs. Tyler was there representing Monte Vista and Del Norte, South Fork, Saluch, Blanca, Lahara, and we went over a draft that we had prepared of the MTC. And there's a lot to this. There was good interaction by all the chiefs there into the process. And we were talking about things. What we tried to do is consolidate this down and getting rid of all the county stuff that was in the MTC draft and make it specific to the municipality. Some of the municipalities have a little differences of different things. For example, South Fork has a totally different ATV protocol than we do. We just basically prohibit ATVs on the streets. But what we're going to do is when we get through editing all of this, and I've asked for edits by all of the PDs, we're going to submit this to the to CDOT, and they will probably have the AG look at our draft. We're trying to put some things in there that are not really in there right now. You know, when an officer comes up, stops the car, maybe for speeding, he announces why he stopped the car to the occupant of the car, and then he asks for his license, for their license. And then he asks for registration on the vehicle. And then he wants to see the insurance and so forth. Well, the only thing in the MTC right now is the fact of the no insurance. And of course, this offense itself, the speeding offense, but there's nothing in there about the license. And there was an early case about this back in 1959, which was kind of a preemption case. But we don't see any reason why we should not be allowed to also cite for having a expired license or no license. So we're trying to ask permission from the state to put that into our MTC. And our argument, of course, is, you know, if we can't, if we can cite on no insurance, why can't we cite on the license? Also, we can cite on the driving under restraint. So why shouldn't we be able to cite on the license and on the registration itself? So I don't know what their position will be on that, but we're going to try that. And then we've got a set protocol on the surcharges. Surcharges should be used for the officers' training and equipment in there. We've broken it down to basically only two things. If you read the MTC, it's got classes of misdemeanors and different levels of offenses, and in the traffic infractions, Class A's and Class B's. So we've broken this down into only two things, which is traffic offenses and traffic infractions. Traffic infractions are probably up to 90% of the whole code. It's a point system that's generally about 4 points or less. Traffic offenses carry the more serious offenses like vehicular eluding, and there's speeding like 40 miles over the speed limit. People do that coming into town sometime. Drag racing, speed contests, that type of thing, speed exhibitions. So those have been put into traffic offenses and require generally court appearances. There's a lot of things in the MTC that are equipment related and that type of thing. So what we will do is go into, once we get a final draft here that we think we can present to CDOT, we will present that to them and request their advance approval so that we don't go in and have a hearing, publication and everything else and passing an ordinance on this, only to get word back from CDOT that, well, they're not approving this because to make it valid, they've got to approve it. So we're going to try that approach. And in fact, they suggest that approach themselves. So that's where we're going with that. And then when we get approval from it, we will then pass the ordinance and we'll have a hearing, and the ordinance itself then will become part of the whole schedule in the city. And there's a inventory at the end of the MTC of all the traffic signs in the city. It's going to be a little work for either Public Works or the inventory of all the signs, but it gives authenticity to the signage if it's challenged. So that's kind of an ongoing work in progress, but I think we're getting there pretty fast now with the input that we've had so far. There's a lot of things on personal mobility devices that you see now that weren't there before in past years. And those are being integrated into the MTC also, whether it's a one-wheeler or scooter or Lord, or something else like that that you use, you know, on the highway. Okay. So another thing that we have been working on is the medical assistance director. Working with Joshua Hill on that. We spent several hours together in the office working up a contract on that, where you know when there's a call, the police are usually the first responders to that. Sometimes the ambulance might get there first, but generally the police. And so this is a standardized protocol, and we're working with Dr. Hurley as the medical director of that. So we've got some things to work through with that, but we have developed a draft of that, and as well a memorandum of understanding with the ambulance district so that we can get the supplies that the police need at the same cost that the ambulance district gets those. And I expect that we'll get that wrapped up before too long. I attended the water symposium Saturday. I thought it was really good, first half anyway. And we're looking at drier periods, no question about it. And that was pretty evident. So it's going to create increasing demand on the water supply. I've had brief conversations with Cody, the new code enforcement officer. His folks live right next to me, so it's pretty handy to walk back and forth there. Let's see. I think of what else we had here. We've got well, the Planning Commission. Been working with DJ and Planning Commission on quite a number of issues out there. We're getting into some interesting discussions about the architecture and parking and things like that in the city. We seem to be making some progress toward getting toward an end game on that. It's still a long process. Let's see. Okay. I think. Oh, I received the contract today for the hotel. Looking at that, and then I'd have some comments on that probably today too. And DJ wants a access easement there, so I'm going to be working on that. I think those are the main things that we've been working on. But it's been a busy time. And in the I was going to say also, if we're going toward the camera enforcement on the MTC, there's a whole sign protocol that goes along with that we're going to have to do. I didn't get in on that discussion because I was in here on this discussion with the Planning Commission, but it sounds like something you're going forward with that. That's the impression I got. So,
Yes.
so we'll have that knocked out with the MTC, and we'll coordinate that into the MTC. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Seems to, we're busy.
Really glad and appreciate you being here this evening.
I appreciate all the input and prayers and everything else coming from the council. That's very, very touching, very, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. City manager. Oh, she got a handful.
Oh, man. Thanks for the post.
You're only allowed to post it.
15 minutes of conversation to post it. How long is that gonna last?
We got you coming in for you. No, it's not that bad. So I sent all of you an email on some information I received from former County Commissioner Laura Thomas out of Douglas County. And Douglas County commissioners are trying to become a home rule county. And if they become a home rule county, then they are able to bond and buy water rights. And the person that is behind the campaign for it is a man by the name of Sean Connor. And Sean was the one who purchased the Gary Boyce's ranch out in Baca County, or Baca, the Baca area neighborhood. Right now, they are really pushing hard on this. They hope to have a special election on June the 24th to establish being a home rule county. And then in November, the voters would vote for a 21-person board and approve the charter. So I've got a call into Heather Dutton to say, you know, is there some opportunity maybe? I mean, it wouldn't be city funds. It's not, cities can't do that, but are they considering some sort of a counter campaign to Douglas County residents to say this is a bad idea? And so we're concerned, and that just flared up here in the last couple of days. We've got a public hearing on May the 1st coming up for the sale of the city property out at Sky High for the potential of a hotel. So that may extend the meeting a little bit longer than what we normally have. This last week, we had part of a grant that we received through the Colorado Tourism Board was called Destination Blueprint. And so we had our first meeting well, we've had several meetings, but another public meeting last week. And then our final meeting with some public will be this Monday at Sky High. And the lady that facilitates it will be taking the information and help actually create a brochure on Monte Vista and our amenities and help give the Chamber of Commerce then a promotion piece. And so that's going well. But then it's also a little bit in conflict with what we're doing with the Upper Rio Grande Economic Development. And last night we had a meeting in South Fork, and tonight it's in Del Norte. And then Monte Vista's meeting will be on Wednesday at 6 o'clock at Sky High to talk about creating a marketing district within Rio Grande County. The tourism dollars, the lodging tax dollars for tourism, and then the marketing dollars that you can collect on lodgers. So that would be hotel rooms, RV spaces, and short-term rentals. The statute's very different in how those dollars can be spent, but a marketing board will allow us to be able to hire an actual staff person or two that would then look at putting together and marketing Rio Grande County, Monte Vista, Del Norte, South Fork, and that little bit of center. And we're hoping that ingest would be is a better economic development strategy if we can get our communities out and And the more people then that sees the information about Rio Grande County and our 3 communities, then will that help generate additional people saying, oh, what a lovely community, I want to go there. Last night's meeting I thought was very interesting in South Fork. Some of the hotel people were grumpy. And a couple of the other hotels came up to me and said, I think this is great. You know, it's not being paid by us unless you go take your spouse to a hotel room. And so, if you're interested, please come next Wednesday to Sky High. I've got some information for those in the audience over there a little bit. We'll have a little bit more. Skip shown from Rio Grande County administrators kind of taking the lead on the presentation. And it's pretty good. Now then, we had a First Amendment person come into the building again this week. And it's quite startling to the staff. And this particular individual, apparently he just wanted to take some pictures. And so Rob is the hero of the week. He came up and showed the gentleman, brought him in here. He took whatever pictures and then he left. But I think I've got to do some sort of better training with our employees because they, you know, they're shooken up. They come to the window, they've got a camera in the face, and you all passed that resolution last year saying we can ask them to leave. So we've got to just do a refresher on that. And then I just wanted to share with you, I have had a friend, she has since passed away. And Rhoda was probably in her 80s, and she was a delightful, had her head together woman. And she got a call from somebody that said, Grandma? She goes, Scott, is that you? Yeah, Grandma, it's Scott. And I'm in jail and I need $2,000. So she went ahead and sent the $2,000. Well, then she didn't hear from Scott and called the number back. And they said, oh yeah, we just need $2,000 more. And don't tell Mom. So she sends another $2,000. So long story short, you know, she finally gets up the notion to tell her daughter, hey, when are you guys going to pay me that $4,000 to get Scott out of jail? And they're like, Mom, what are you talking about? Scott is on a Navy ship out in the middle of the ocean. He's not in harm's way. And so it's just interesting how they can say that, you know, call, you know, she took the bait when she says, Scott? Oh yeah, it's me, Scott. And then Rio Grande Hospital, I want to try to find out some more information on this, but they had a presentation from a guy that is well informed on all this AI stuff. And he took somebody's phone, I mean, Brad, getting your phone, and within seconds, he was able to take your voice off of your phone and then call you back, and you're listening to your own voice. And so their message is have the generic message on your phones. Don't say, like I have, you know, this is Gigi Dennis, your city manager. I need to take that off. I need to just change it to, this is a city manager of Monte Vista without putting a name on it, because they have just got so smart and so creepy, and we've got to be very vigilant and
They got my
protect
sister,
ourselves.
she works dispatch, they got her while she was at dispatch with a call, and they kind of made it seem like, because, you know, police officers, once you get a judgment against you and stuff, it really hinders you. So they had her so worried that she called me, borrowed the money from me. And halfway through the process of giving her money, I kind of cued in, I was like, whoa, I think this is a scam. And that's exactly when they hung up and left us at that point. But they almost had me for quite a bit of money too. via my sister.
They're calling seniors and telling them that they're the Medicare providers. I don't know whether you've gotten any calls like that. We get them every week.
I think there's no end to what they will do or what they're willing to do.
It's really like seniors.
Look like.
Thanks, Gene.
They're ruthless. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to council committee, city commission and council reports. Council Lorenz. No? Warren, you have something?
No, not really. I think so. I wasn't surprised we had some folks talking about the spring.
Trying to figure out.
Program. Just could have expected that, I suppose.
I did as well. Well, we will recess this meeting until April 17th, 6 p.m. here at council chambers. Monty Strong.
So you're feeling better?
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know what I did, but I did it.